This lesson is on multiplying monomials and polynomials. So first let's go over some vocabulary. A monomial is one term. Basically, it's when a whole bunch of things are multiplied together. So for instance, 4 is a monomial. It's a constant monomial, but it's one term, it's a monomial. 4x is also a monomial. 4x squared y squared z is also a monomial. All those things are being multiplied together. A binomial is two monomials added together. So 3x plus y is a binomial. 4x squared plus 5 is a binomial. Two things added together, two monomials added together. A polynomial is more than two. So there's also called a trinomial, which is three terms added together. But a polynomial is a whole bunch of terms added together. That's what we'd call a polynomial. Okay, so there's your vocabulary. The second thing you need to remember is that x plus x equals 2x. You have to know that. When you add variables together, you add the coefficients in front. What I'm teaching you today is that x times x is x squared. When you multiply variables, you add their exponents together. Their exponents of x are 1. This exponent is 1 and this exponent is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So for instance, x squared times x cubed will equal x to the 5th. Another thing you have to know is you can't add these two things together. X plus y is x plus y. They're not like terms. You can't combine them. But you can multiply x squared times y. Your answer will be x squared y. So a lot of people say, I can't multiply those because they're not like terms. Yes, you can. You can multiply anything. You can only add together things that are alike. So let's talk about the distributive property with monomials and polynomials. First thing we're going to talk about is we're going to do 3w times w, which is 3w squared, and then 3w times 2, which is plus 6w. It's the same distributive property you've always done, except now you have a w times a w to get a w squared. I'm going to skip that one because I don't like it when the thing that you're distributing is after the parentheses. That rarely happens. So we're going to skip over that. Here, 3m squared times 4 is 12m squared. 3m times m is 3m cubed. See this 2 and this 1 add together and get you 3m cubed. Let's talk about some negatives. Here, 2p times p squared is 2p cubed. What just happened? Notice how I don't write any signs down. We talked about this back when we learned the distributive property. You want to figure out what the sign of your next term is going to be before you write any signs down. So I have 2p times negative 6p is negative 12p squared. No sign. 2p times 1 is plus 2p. Now none of these are like terms, so I can't add them together. This is the answer. Here I have negative 1y times 5y cubed. Well, negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. Y times y cubed is y to the 4th. Notice I don't write any signs down. Negative y times negative 3y squared is going to give you a plus 3y cubed. No signs. Negative y times 2y, negative 2y squared. So that's how you multiply a monomial by a polynomial. Okay, let's do one more. Negative 4h times negative h cubed. Well, negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. And h times h cubed is h to the 4th. Negative 4h times negative 8 is plus 32 h cubed. Negative 4h times positive 2h is negative 8h squared. Okay? Monomial times polynomial. Now let's move on to a binomial times a binomial. Don't look at this word yet. I want to show you what that means later. But you'll hear lots of upperclassmen saying, you have to FOIL, you have to FOIL, you have to FOIL. So this is something that's going to come back into your life later, but I want to explain what it is. The first thing we're going to do is use the distributive property again. We're going to cover up this plus 4 and just do x times x and x times 6. We're going to distribute the x to these two terms. Then we're going to cover up the x and distribute the 4 to these two terms. So when we're done, we're going to end up with 4 things. X times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 6 is 24. But notice you have like terms here. So we're going to add those together, and our final answer is going to be x squared plus 10x plus 24. Let's try another one. A times 2a is 2a squared. Remember, I'm covering up the 5, pretending it's not here. And I'm just doing the a times these two things. Then I'm going to cover up the a and do negative 5 times these two things. So a times negative 6, negative 6a. Negative 5 times 2a, negative 10a. Negative 5 times negative 6, plus 30. Combine like terms, 2a squared minus 16a plus 30. One more. 6d squared times 8d is 48d cubed. 6d squared times negative 3, negative 18d squared. Now I'm done with the 6d squared. I already distributed it. So now I'm going to go to the 4. 4 times 8d, 32d. 4 times negative 3, minus 12. Now in this problem, I don't have any like terms to combine. This is my final answer. So I don't want you to think that you always have like terms. Usually you do, but sometimes you don't. Now let's talk about where this FOIL thing comes in. FOIL is an acronym that stands for first, outside, inside, last. Now, if you Google it, some people say first, outer, inner, last, first. I guess those are the only two options. But the whole point is you're really just distributing. I'm going to put this t, and I'm going to multiply it by the t and the negative 9. The first means you're going to multiply the first term in this parentheses by the first term in this parentheses. Either way, you get t squared. Now, what I told you was cover up the negative 4 and multiply the t by the negative 9. What FOIL tells you is multiply the outside term. So if you think about these parentheses, the term farthest to the outside on the left is t, farthest to the outside on the right is negative 9. Either way, you get negative 9t. So the way I taught you and FOIL are exactly the same thing. FOIL is just an easy way for teachers to say, hey, you got to FOIL it, just to remind you that you need to distribute. Inside means, okay, I've already distributed the t to the t and the negative 9, so I'm going to cover it up, and I'm going to do negative 4 times t. Those are the inner two terms of all of these. So you get negative 4t. And then last means negative 4 is the last term in the first parentheses, negative 9 is the last term in the second parentheses. Multiply those together, you get plus 36, and then combine like terms. So that's where FOIL comes into play. You're going to be doing this a lot, so you'll get really, really good at it, but I really need you to understand the concept of what's going on. A lot of times people do n times 2n and then 8 times negative 7. But you have to remember that you have to distribute this n to both of these terms and the 8 to both of these terms.